Welcome back to Rabid Noise on Rabid Radio. Joining me on the program now is Chris Cougan from AVERSIONS CROWN. How's it going tonight, man?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, man. So things seem to be going really well for you guys, and you've recently signed up with Nuclear Blast to release your new album, Tyrant. How's the ride been so far from your point of view?
Really exciting, actually. There's been a lot of new stuff happening on our side, especially just the whole process that we've gone through with doing this album, working with Andy Marsh from Sky Art. It's been good to work with a producer who knows our sound and who knows what we want to achieve. So it was really fun in there making that album, and then obviously Nuclear Blast jumped on board, and then we were able to send it over to Mark Lewis to have him mix and master it, and it was great to have a name like that finishing it off and getting a world-class product.
The album sounds huge. And
yeah, I was really impressed with how it came back. I really love the sound of it. I love the mix that Mark was able to get.
Spot on, man, because I was cranking it in the car this morning, man, and you know some albums you can't really turn up because it just makes your speakers fart out. But this album, man, I could just keep turning it up, and it was mad. It was so good. So, you guys have, worked your asses off and definitely paid your dues to get where you are now. So do you feel more pressure now that things are taking off?
A little bit, but only a lot of pressure is on ourselves, I guess, because we constantly want to improve, and we wanted to make Tyrant a step up from our previous album, Servitude, and we wanted to do it for ourselves, but we also want our fans to enjoy it too. So I guess there is a little bit of pressure, but I mean it's all good fun at the same time. Just try not to overthink it, I guess, and just try and have fun while doing everything, I guess.
Yeah, just enjoy it, man. Just living the dream, dude. That's what it's about. So you guys must have been absolutely stoked when you got the call from Nuclear Blast. How did that all come about?
It all happened pretty quickly from what we know anyway. It was basically our manager said, yep, Nuclear Blast have heard a few tracks. They're pretty keen, but you never know what really happens. We'll just see what happens. And then I think a few weeks later I was on the train on the way to work and got an email saying, yep, they want to do it. And I was pretty much blown away. I thought he was joking, actually. And then he's like, no, it's serious. They want to do it. They like the album. And yeah, we were all completely stoked because we like a lot of bands on Nuclear Blast, and for us, that's like the biggest metal label. So it was really, really good news.
Definitely, man. And you're right. I honestly feel that Nuclear Blast are probably the most genuine metal label out there at the moment. You know, they've got the talent on their roster, but it kind of feels like the old days. You know, when Roadrunner Records were like the thing. And you'd want to wear the Roadrunner stuff, and it feels like Nuclear Blast are bringing that back, man. So I'm stoked for you guys being as part of their ranks, because they are my favourite label as well. So when it comes to writing for AVERSIONS CROWN, because you got 3 guitars, right?
Yeah.
How do you guys share that responsibility? I could imagine it being pretty tricky sometimes if I know guitarists and my experience with guitarists. So do you find that, that can be tricky sometimes?
It can be, but the way that it's worked for us is because we've only really had 2 solid guitar members for a while, and we've actually just recently had a new 3rd guitarist come into it. So I've always done the majority of the writing when it comes to the guitaring, and then our other guitarist, Hayden, he'll come up with a few things, and then we'll kind of just mix them into the songs, and then generally I play most of the leads and effects, and he's happy to do most of the rhythm sections, and then our new guitar player, he's a bit of a shredder, so he's taking on a lot of those, I guess, solos and leady kind of parts, and we're all happy to do our own bits, and just it works pretty well. Like, we all bounce ideas off each other pretty well as well. So yeah, it's not too tricky. It's a lot easier than it probably sounds working with 3 guitars, I guess.
Well, that's awesome, man, because I'm used to hearing like 2 guitarists get into a room alone, for fisticuffs over riffs and stuff like that, turning their amps up If you guys have made it work for 3, I mean, there's something special going on there. So awesome, man. So, you've toured the country and overseas as well, and, shared the stage with bands like, Acacia Strain, All Shall Perish, Cattle Decapitation, and you've also done the Warped tour. So what's your most memorable show to date?
I think our most memorable show was we played a show over in Manchester on the Dioda's Murder Tour. And we were just expecting just another show, and I think it was even like on a Wednesday or something like that. And it was probably one of the best shows that we've ever played. I think there was about 500 people in the room, and pretty much all of them knew all our lyrics, and everyone was going crazy. And I think it was just because it was so unexpected too. So for me, I think that's probably the most memorable show as far as the crowd goes. But just recently we played with Whitechapel, and they've been a band that I've been listening to for a very long time. I think that's one of my favourite bands, and getting to play a show with those guys and watch them 3 nights in a row, that was also really, really awesome.
That was a great show, actually, in Brisbane.
Yeah, the hi-fi, I was expecting not so many people to be in the room because we were kind of the opening band when the doors were open, but luckily they let us play a little bit later just so the room was a bit fuller. But yeah, it went really well, and it was a really fun show.
You know what? That is probably the craziest I've seen the hi-fi in a long time, dude. I don't know about you, but they had upstairs open and it was just packed. There was just a real good energy in that room and that gig. Like, you guys played really well, and Whitechapel I actually stood back and watched that one because that pit was just crazy, man.
Yeah, I was in the crowd when Whitechapel were playing too, and it sounded massive out the front, and they were amazing, really tight band. It was good to finally see them in a small show because I've only ever seen them before at Soundwave, and kind of ages away, and it's not very loud. But yeah, they're really good bands, and sounded awesome that night.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favourite shows of the year. That one, that was solid, man. So, did you get to hang out with the guys and stuff like that?
Not so much the first night because we had to do the old play the show, chuck everything in the van, and then go straight to Sydney and drive through the night to make it to Logan. But we had a bit of time to kill the next day, and yeah, we spoke to a few of them just while we were hanging around backstage and whatnot, and they're all really nice guys. And yeah, they said that they digged what we were doing, and that was pretty motivating hearing someone like that say that we're doing pretty good, and they just said keep working hard, and hopefully we can end up in the same situation that they're in, which was, that was also pretty good to hear as well.
That is cool, man. That's really cool. You probably had to sit down for a little bit after that one.
Yeah, it felt pretty weird, because I had a ticket to go see them, and then I found out we were able to play it, so I tried not to sweat them the whole time that I was around them, but yeah, they were really cool guys.
That's what you want, man. Well, so what are your tour plans for the album?
At this stage, the only thing that we've got locked in is the East Coast run with Molotov Solution. That starts in early November, I think the 5th to be exact, in Brisbane. And after that, we're in talks to go back over to Europe and then hopefully hit America after that.
That's awesome, man. So, what's it like out there in Europe, doing the European circuit, I should say?
The main thing I remember is it being extremely cold the whole time, but it's really good. The fans over there are crazy. A lot of people go to shows, a lot of people buy merch, and we were expecting no one to even know who we were last time we went over there, but we had a pretty decent amount of fans at every show, which was crazy considering, at that stage, all we really had was just an album and a few videos on the internet and lyric video and stuff. So we were pretty blown away, I guess, when we were playing shows and people knew our lyrics in Germany and people knew who we were in Poland. So that was a bit of a shock to us, but it's really fun over there. They've got really cool venues and really cool things to go and see. And one thing that's awesome is you drive 2 hours down the road and you're basically in another country and different language, which is different for us. We used to drive in 12 hours pretty much to the next city.
We're talking about that, 6 dudes on a tour bus. Who decides the music?
On that tour, our driver decided the music, and he was from ruined, I think. So, yeah, we got to listen to whatever he wanted to listen to, but we were fine with that. I mean, like, we all had our own iPods and stuff, and, you know, he had on some pretty interesting music. I think at one stage he had on I Hate God, and then he had Behemoth on, and then he'd switch over and listen to some French music, some, like, indie rock band I've never heard before. So, yeah, I guess we had a mix of everything, really.
Well, at least it wasn't mainstream radio like we got here.
Yeah. Yeah,
12
he didn't
hours
have
of
any of that on. I think
man.
what he did like that was surprising was he was really into Crowded House. And so we gave that a bit of a listen, which isn't too bad. I don't mind them. But, yeah, he had some interesting music on there. I think he had some poetry going at one stage as well, but, yeah.
At least that's way better than, way better than the usual. So, apart from that, what's next for you guys? So, you obviously plan tour and stuff. What else have you got in store?
We want to do another music video for another track off the album and continue writing and hopefully get some more music out a lot sooner than what the gap was between Servitude and Tyrant, because I think that was close to 3 years or something. But, yeah, this time we just want to get Tyrant out and just keep writing music, keep playing shows, and just like the usual stuff, just keep ourselves busy doing what we like doing.
Well, man, I think once the album drops in November, it's just going to take off, man. So, yeah, congrats, dude. It's going to be a big year ahead for you next year. So we're going to go to the track Vectors now. Thanks for hanging with us tonight, Chris, and we'll hopefully see you soon out there on the road, and all the best with AVERSIONS CROWN.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on the show.